Children love to imitate their dads. There's just something about it. I want to walk like dad. I want to talk like dad. I want to be like dad. You know, Paul uses that exact example in Ephesians chapter 5. We're to imitate our Father. The big question is, how? Find out today.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
And welcome back, friends, to today's episode in the study of, remember, what book of the Bible are we studying? Ephesians chapter 5 today. In fact, we're in a brand new chapter, and I'm excited about that. It's a really powerful chapter, as we shall see. So Ephesians 5 and verse 1 in just a moment, but I wanted to show you this postcard. It's one of the most interesting postcards I've ever received. My dear friend and great preacher, Bill Prater, sent me this card. It's called The Tail of the Dragon. It's an 11-mile famous motorcycle ride, 318 turns. It's called The Tail of the Dragon. And they have a tree along the route that's called the Tree of Shame, where it's made up of all these motorcycle parts that came from wrecks on that motorcycle ride. So I'm not sure if I would survive on a road like that. But Brother Bill, thank you for your ministry and for thinking about me and for sending me this Tree of Shame postcard. We are in Ephesians 5 today, and I want you to look at verse number 1, and you're going to have to remember a bit about our last episode, because, well, look at it. Ephesians 5 and verse 1. It says, Be ye therefore followers of God as dear children. So obviously, the Apostle Paul is asking for us to know something about what he has just said, because he says, Be ye therefore followers of God. So in what way are we to follow God? What is he talking about specifically? Obviously, there are many ways that we should follow God, but what's the specific point that the Apostle Paul is making? Well, remember the last verse we talked about, which was the last verse in chapter 4, where it said, Be ye kind one toward another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven us. So we are to be like God. We're to follow God in forgiveness. So, wow, what an emphasis. How does God forgive? Well, he forgives completely, doesn't he? He forgives because of Jesus. And that's how we should forgive. So be ye therefore followers of God. The word follower there is a word that we could easily translate imitate, to imitate. So imitate God. And I love how the apostle deals with it here, because he says, Be ye followers of God as dear children. So children naturally want to imitate dad. They naturally want to do what dad does. Many times a child's mannerisms just match the mannerisms of his dad, or his favorite sports team, or the things he likes to eat, or the hobbies that he has. He imitates dad. It's hardwired in all of us. And so Paul draws on that analogy and says, but when it comes to forgiving people, imitate God as a dear child would. Now, verse number 2, and walk in love. So be forgiving, walk. Let this be the practice of your life. Let this be what you're known for in your daily activity, and walk in love. Be motivated by love. Be expressing love. Let love be the characteristic word of the way that you deal with people, of the way that you deal with your own family, of what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's the love of Christ, the Apostle Paul said, that constraineth us. Well, I think about his love for me, and that energizes my love for him and for others. And so walk in love. And then he gives us the great example of Jesus. And walk in love as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savor. So it's almost like this. Walk in love. Now, here's a good way to understand how to walk in love. Walk in love the way Christ loved us. So I think it's important for us to consider the way Christ dealt with people, to consider the life that Jesus lived. Why? Because he is our example. And just as we are to imitate God our Father, we are to imitate God the Son. And so walk in love as Christ also hath loved us. And then it gives us two qualities of Christ-like love that are really important for us to understand. So walk in love as Christ also hath loved us and hath given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling savor. So what do we know about love? Well, I think first of all, what we know about love is that love is sacrificial, an offering. He has given himself for us, an offering. And that's a good way to look at the way that we love people. To love people requires sacrifice. To love people means that I lay down my life. It's not what I want. It's not what what you want. Look, every man not on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. So love is self-effacing. Love is not self-serving, but love is selfless. So walk in love as Christ also loved us and hath given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God. Now watch this, for a sweet smelling savor. So even though Christ gave himself for us, he served us, he was doing it for God, right? It was a sweet smelling savor. That this is the language of Old Testament sacrifice, that this is pleasing to God. So therein is a great principle for us to understand. And that is, as we walk in love, our focus is others, but we can't be doing it for others. Why? Because oftentimes when we live for others, we're not noticed, we're not appreciated, we don't see the value. So the point is, we are loving God, serving God, worshiping God by serving others, just as Christ did. So Christ's life of love was, I am laying my life down for you as an act of worship to God. And therein is a great template for you and me, that as we serve others, as we sometimes go about our duty unknown or unthanked, we're serving others, laying down our lives, but we're doing so in the sight of God, with the full knowledge of God, as an act of worship to God. It's well-pleasing to God. So we're not living to please others or even to be recognized by others, but we're doing it because we know that this is an act of worship for the Lord. What a great encouragement that is if we really wrapped our minds around it. Okay. Verse number 3 of our text, it says, but fornication and uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becometh saints. So walk in love. Love is self-effacing. Love is selfless. Love is concerned about the good of others. Christ-like love is moral. And so Paul says, but avoid the cheap alternatives to love that the world offers. Avoid the culture of self-love that the world trumpets. And then he gives us some examples. Verse number 3, fornication, which is sexual sin. Uncleanness, which I think also speaks to immoral impurity. And then covetousness, wanting things that don't belong to us. A sense of entitlement. I want. And that could also refer to sexual sin. Let it not once be named among you as becometh saints. That's not a good adornment for a child of God. That's not a good decoration for someone who names the name of Christ. No, walk in love. Let your focus be a sacrificial love for others as an act of worship to God. But don't get drawn away into the kind of love that is feel good, satisfy myself, get pleasure in the moment, sacrifice my moral character for a temporary pleasure. No, don't allow yourself to adopt a worldly definition of love or happiness or satisfaction. Because once you get down on that road of me and what I want and satisfying my pleasure and what I can get and what I can grasp after, you will never have. You'll always be grasping. You'll always be striving, but you'll never totally get it. It's a moving target that you will never, ever hit. And so live your life simply, a simple life of loving God, honoring God, worshiping God by serving and loving other people. So I'm going to stop right there. I know it's a bit early, but I'm going to stop right there, and we're going to finish some of these other points that the Apostle Paul makes here in verse number 4 that are attached to verse number 3. But for sake of time, we won't go there right now. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. God bless you, my friends.